Tonight on Joy News Prime, police introduce checkpoints at accident-prone spots to check highway fatalities.
Commanders have been tasked to steady the road in all their jurisdictions. Wherever they think that the speeding can be kept by an enforcement medium, either by a roadblock or by a temporary police.
In another development, the police have killed 2 suspected armed robbers said to have been involved in Kwabenya jailbreak and Royal Motors daylight robbery at the industrial area.
Also involved in the Royal Motor robbery, Asham and filling station robbery, and Kwabenya jailbreak, who are part of notorious armed robbery syndicates.
Ghana Water Company rations water supply in the western region. It says it's as a result of the Harmattan in the activities of Galamsey operators. Parliament's Public Accounts Committee chairman causes arrest of 2 persons who appear before it on Monday. We'll tell you why.
Please, before I move to the police station, I want to make a quick.
You can make that statement as part of your statement that will be taken from you at the police station.
I want you to tell them quick. We have what to do. I think we are joking.
In business,
Government's establishment of FX Development Committee sparks controversy as economists maintains it amounts to overtake of the central bank's forest control functions.
Come all of a sudden to form a committee that is not supposed to be your committee. I believe people will read meaning to it in the market, and that is not the best. The only thing that one is questioning.
I'm Israel Lyon. Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio Kokom Limited here in Accra with digital address GA099-2539. Stay tuned in. The Inspector General of Police says some practical measures introduced by the service to curb accidents on the country's roads include checkpoints at accident-prone spots to compel drivers to reduce their speed. James Oponbuenu says that Dompasi Junction, where 34 lives were lost recently, is the first to have such a stop. The IGP believes commuters and road users also have a responsibility in efforts to reduce the carnage. In an interview with Joy News, he also added the suspect driver has been provisionally charged with careless and inconsiderate driving, with the Attorney General having the ultimate say.
What our investigations have shown is that the suspect driver was trying to overtake a long stretch of vehicles, and it was close to a bend or a curve. And when another vehicle emerged, he couldn't avoid, so they had to go into a collision. So far, 34 people died, 63 injured, and 47 out of them have been treated and discharged. 2 of the male passengers who died have not been identified so far. So we're appealing to the public to help us identify them. The suspect driver has been charged provisionally with careless and inconsiderate driving. When we finish with the investigations, the docket will be submitted, as usual, to the Attorney General Department. Then they will look at it and see whether they want to go by the Road Traffic Act or they will go by criminal action. For example, you could be charged with manslaughter if his actions are considered to be a reckless disregard for human life.
The Ghana Water Company Limited is rationing water in the western region due to its inability to get enough treatable water to pump into homes. The company is attributing the problem to illegal mining in the area. We hear from the Public Relations Officer for the water company in a bit. But first, Joy News can report on the illegal mining is back in full swing 3 years after a nationwide anti-Galamsey campaign. An unannounced visit by Land and Natural Resources Minister revealed several operators mining in both land and water bodies in the Odan River Forest Reserve. Here's a report by Latif Idris, who travelled with the minister.
After 3 years of intense war against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, It appears the efforts are not paying off as illegal miners continue to pillage forest reserves and pollute water bodies for gold. In the Oda River Forest Reserve in the Amansie Central District of the Ashanti region, 7 hectares of the 16,000 hectares of forest reserve have been wiped out by Chinese illegal miners and their Ghanaian counterparts. Initial suits by personnel from the Forestry Commission led to the arrest of 2 Chinese nationals who were detained at the Jacobo police station for 48 hours. The 2 have since been granted bail as investigation continues. Meanwhile, a few meters away from the illegal mine site, which had been deserted at the time the minister and his team got there, sounds of Chamfine machine could be heard operating on the Oda River, lacing it with toxic chemicals. But it appears powerful politicians are behind the illegal activity. In an interview with Joy News at the heavily pillaged mine site, District Forest Manager for the Bekwai District, Ransford Chum Damwa said, quote, "We came here with all forces and they also had military protection. In all, 2 excavators were retrieved from the mine site, with many other mining equipment and personal effects of the absconded illegal miners being set ablaze." President Akufo-Addo in August last year assented to new illegal mining law, which pegs sentences for the illegal act to some 25 years. But it appears that is not deterrent enough. Whilst driving to the illegal mine site, the team spotted a number of excavators parked by the shoulders of the road leading to the forest. A clear indication that the illegal miners are hiding in the bushes, waiting for the minister and his team to leave so they can cause more harm to the forest reserve and the water body.
Now let's listen to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources lamenting the resurgence of illegal mining and its announcement of a change in strategy.
These miners, if you come here unarmed, you may be attacked. No civilian can easily approach them to tell them to stop, unless our brothers in the military are here. Their uniform alone is enough scare to them.
So how soon should we expect this military deployment to this other forests?
Just next week, it will happen. You see, there is one excavator.
Sorry.
Today too. There is one excavator in the...
You will know for?
Yes, in the open pit. And as soon as they saw us, they fled.
Yeah.
It means that when we leave here, they will come back and work. So the action that we have to take here will have to be immediate. You see how they have devastated the forest. And it is not only this area. As we are being told, there are other areas.
Now, Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, Daryl Bosu, says government's inability to set up environmental courts as well as its posturing are some of the major lapses in the anti-Galamsey campaign embarked upon by the country 3 years ago. Right, so you hear from him in a bit, but Daryl Bosu, here's President Akufo-Addo speaking about the anti-Galamsey fight in 2017.
You know that the activities that they're involved in are jeopardizing the very survival of our nation. I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. And as a result, we established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter.
Well, environmental NGO Arocha Ghana is demanding setting up of environmental courts to prosecute persons found culpable in illegal mining.
Government's pushing on this issue is very, very important. You do not have to undermine actions that you have set in place to make sure you address galamsey. And I have to say, government's action to even turn a watershed into a bauxite mine in itself is a negative posture government is sending out to the people. Because if you don't care, you don't expect people to also care about what is happening. Because everybody knows that, okay, there's money, why are we wasting our time? So government's pushing is very important, and we need to have deterrent measures in place. There shouldn't be anything like we should be lenient. Let's really deal with the issue as it is. Again, we need environmental courts. It needs to happen. But what is also important is that we need to make sure we get the community people involved. Right now, the DCIMs are only some political functions, state agencies, the same people who have sat aloof and these things are happening. We need to diversify these committees and bring in people, CSOs, several coalitions on the ground who are really there. And when we make the reports, they should take it up and make sure they verify and take action. Usually that is what is happening. Right. You report, no action is taken. I'm telling you, they know where all of these mining activities are happening. What are the drones that we're supposed to see out there in the skies monitoring what is happening? I'm surprised we don't see any drones being videos being aired anywhere by the ministry to tell us that we have the information.
Already, the effects of water bodies by illegal mining activities is beginning to bite, and it has started in the Western region where water is being rationed. The public relations officer at the Ghana Water Company, Stanley Mate, is warning if the current trend continues, there will be no water running through taps across the country. He spoke on The Pulse.
Yeah. So averagely, it gets to about 28 cities or close to 30 cities. But you have to look at the individual cost of production at individual treatment plants. You realize that it's far higher in some areas.
Have we started rationing water because some people are complaining about it?
We are managing the distribution of the water, especially in the Western region, because instead of, for instance, 11 million gallons of water that our two treatment plants can treat or produce daily, we're only producing averagely 3 million gallons of water. And that cannot be enough for the population in Secondary Takoradi. So the only thing is to manage the distribution such that some people can't get water on a particular day and then others can get on another day. So we have categorized them into three, and we are doing an even distribution so that with at least every part of the city can have access to some water in the week.
We can now go to the Western region to find out more from correspondent Ina Thalia Kwanza. Hello, Ina. Are residents in the capital beginning to feel the effects of this rationing that the Ghana Water Company is talking about?
Yes, Israel. So for the past 2 weeks, they have started the rationing. Some parts of the region do not have water. For some people, they've stayed away for 2 weeks without water. Others 4 days, others 5 days. And this has really become a big issue in the metro, especially when you go to those who use it in commercial quantities. They tell you that they have to now resort to other sources of water. And it's in the dry season. So these ones are also dried up. And then when you go to the house, there hasn't been any announcement in the metro, so people are confused. People wake up, turn on their taps, wake up at dawn just to keep watch if there will be some water flowing, and then they would wait for throughout the night and nothing is flowing. So this morning I had interacted with some residents who feel that the Ghana Water Company could have even made an announcement within the metro so that they know what is happening. For some of them, they felt that there were faults with their taps or they had issues here and there. So when I went to them and I spoke to them, some of them, it was even news that there was rationing in their homes.
All right, thank you very much, Ina Thalia Kwanza, bringing us this update from the Western region capital. Police have charged current and former finance officers of Sefi Akontombra District Assembly with forgery after chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Aveji, caused the arrest on live TV. Isaac Akowa and James Asofi, who appeared before the committee to respond to questions on the 2015-2016 Auditor General's report, were accused of committing perjury and forging official documents. This is what transpired at the sitting of the Public Accounts Committee as Mr. Aveji directed the arrest.
Chairman, please, before I move to the police station, I want to make a quick.
You can make that statement as part of your statement that will be taken from you at the police station.
I want you to tell them quick. We have work to do. I think we are joking. We leave our constituencies and can't be sitting here. You go and be creating station documents. That's the idea. You must know that we are serious. Yes. Except that before the legislation was issued, yes. So you were there when the NJ conference was done. Yes. You were there and received the observation.
So we will suspend the discussion with Sefia Kontombra. The still is still being handled. It will be handled by the police now, depending on.
Joining us as parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo was actually at Parliament House when this happened, and he joins us in studio. So, Joseph, what exactly is the background to all of this?
So, last week, as the committee interrogated the reports of the Auditor General 2015, 2016, as well as 2014, officials of the Sefia Kontombra District Assembly appeared, and there were issues that some payments had been made, 61 different payments, and there wasn't evidence to back the payments, what they call payment vouchers. And they were asked to produce that. This was captured in the Auditor General's report. So they were asked to produce that last week. They said they weren't available at the moment then, and that they can provide it this week. So today was fixed for the finance officer, the current one, to produce them. So he showed up today, produced the said 62 different vouchers, and according to the committee members, when they looked at it and interrogated it, they found about 61 of them to be fake, only one of them was real. And according to the chairman of the committee, James Salveji, it amounted to deceiving a public officer, it amounted to forging official documentation, hence his decision to cause the arrest. Then this is something that both sides of the House virtually bought into.
Right.
First of all, we can hear from James Salveji. He's been defending the decision to cause the arrest, including his point that they have the powers of a high court to a certain extent.
You realize that every witness that appeared before us is made to take an oath. And they swore to speak the truth and the truth only. So if you are witness, you appear before the Public Accounts Committee, you take an oath, then you begin to lie to the committee. First of all, it's amount to perjury because you lie to the Committee of Parliament. Secondly, you present false documents, knowing very well that this document you are presenting is not the document to us. So, deceit of public office. These are possible offense charges that they can level against them. So, if we realize that you are doing that, because under Article 103 of the Constitution, we have been clothed with the powers of investigation to investigate and conduct an inquiry. We have also been clothed with the powers of a high court or a justice of superior courts. So we realize that you are deceiving public officer. You are committing perjury because you are lying to public officers after taking an oath. The best thing for us to do is for you to go to the police and go and take a statement.
All right, and so you indicated earlier that both sides of the House agree to this?
Exactly. They'd been worried about this. They had claimed all throughout the sitting last week that people appeared before them and they were telling untruths. And Aveji said they noticed then that he was going to take action. On the Public Accounts Committee, the NDC are actually the majority.
Yes.
And then the NPP are the minority. The NPP MP for Mpoho, Alex Ajeku, makes the point that they, the minority, are in full support of the chairman of the committee in order to bring some respect to the work of the Public Accounts Committee.
All right.
Everybody comes and just gives that simple answer. In the case of Kontombra, the PVs that we were looking for last week, they couldn't present. The explanations were not adding up. We give them the benefit of the doubt to go and come back this week, today. Today, when they came, they were presenting PVs that were totally different from what the auditors cited during the audit period. And so a clear indication that an auditee that has appeared before a committee, you've sworn oath to say the truth, and then you are now presenting a PV that is totally different from what the auditors cited, means that we have gone to forge some PVs to come and make up the report. And that was why I think that the chairman directed them to be arrested.
So that's the funny question. On what basis does the committee come to the conclusion that the documents they presented were forged and that they engaged in forgery for which you've ordered the arrest?
Yes, the PVs were having serial numbers, and which numbers had been captured in the Auditor General's report. So the numbers were there. And therefore, if you now appear to come and give us something that is different from the sequential PVs that were, as at the time the audit was being conducted, then it means that you just quickly went into, get some pieces together just to come and answer, and for which this action is supposed to be a deterrent to those who will venture to do the same thing.
So parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is still with me in the studio. So Joseph, where are the two now?
So this incident happened around 12 o'clock, after 12. So they had been in the police custody in Parliament for, well, about 5 hours. Sometime a few minutes to 5 o'clock, they were granted police inquiry bail, even as the police say they are commencing investigation into the allegation of forgery. Superintendent Freeman Tete, he is the commander of the parliamentary police unit. He's been explaining what the next steps will be, even as the investigations continue.
Finance officer for the assemblies, and these two gentlemen were part of those meeting the Public Account Committee or summoned before the Public Account Committee of Parliament. So in the course of it, per the complaint lodge, there were issues of forgery of official document and other misrepresentation. So with this regard, case was reported to the police here, and we have to come in. We effected arrest of these two gentlemen, James Eselfi and Isaac Ekua. As I indicated, they are both finance officers of these two assemblies, but because of the position of Isaac Ekua, he came in upon the invitation of the assembly, of the finance committee. And I said, for immediate pass, finance officer. So we just have to take out the Bodi District Assembly out of the picture. Okay. So the attention is on the Kotombra District Assembly. So as I speak now, they've just been granted police inquiry bail. We took caution statement, and then we granted bail. So the case is still pending. We are still investigating with the involvement of the Public Account Committee. The case is still under investigation because this is a state issue. This is an issue before an august committee, and the police are taking the criminal aspect of it, and we are handling it. So,
does the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee have the right to order for arrest of people, and the police then responding to that?
Well, as our procedure goes, he did not order us to arrest. A complaint was lodged by the clerk to the Public Account Committee. So we have to proceed from that. So it may sound like an order. We have not been ordered. We are only asked to pick up the case. And if you are asked to pick up the case, once the suspects were before the committee, it is just appropriate and proper that the suspects are invited and then arrested. When you realize that there's a case against them, so we don't want to accept that we're ordered. We were not directed, and we're not ordered to arrest those gentlemen. A case was made, and then we have to pick them up from the committee sitting.
So
Well, legal practitioner Samson Ladi Ayenini joins us live on the line. Hello, Samson. Thank you for making time to speak with us. But interesting developments at the committee hearing. What would you have done if these two who were arrested happened to be your clients?
Israel. Okay, so first of all, once the persons who have been invested with the power to sit and do work on behalf of Parliament for and on behalf of the people of the Republic of Ghana, in the exercise of their functions as directed by the Constitution, as directed by the Audit Service Act, which says that when the Auditor General is done with his job, it ought to end on the desk of the Public Accounts Committee, and as directed by Parliament's own standing order. If they discovered in the process that some crime was being committed or had been committed, they have every right to draw the attention of the police and for due process to be commenced. Just in the same way that you and I, as ordinary civilians, have the right to cause the arrest of people we detect are committing a crime or have committed a crime. And sometimes we may not even have to draw the attention of the police because the process may mean that they will escape. That's why the law gives us power to effect the citizen's arrest by ourselves and then hand the person to the nearby police or a police officer.
All right.
So on that score, I'll say that they have done the duty that the Constitution imposes on all of us in Article 41, that we should all be part of the process in exercising the duty to expose and combat corruption. They have done their part.
All right. So essentially, it is well within the right of the chairman of the committee to order the arrest of the two. But then it comes back to the question I was asking you earlier, which you're trying to avoid. But the question is, what would you have done if you happen to be they happen to be your clients?
Well, I'll simply assist them as is required by Article 14 of the Constitution to present themselves before the police, and then the law requires that they should be told in a language they understand, that their Miranda rights should be read to them. They should be told in a law that, in a language that they understand, the offense for which they are being arrested, and also be told of their right to a lawyer of their own choosing, not a lawyer chosen for them by anybody.
All right.
And that they have a right to exercise and request for bail. So I have heard that Mr. Abedi say they were lying before them. Now, if you go to a place like Parliament, if you go to any other public place and you take an oath, and speaking on the back of the oath you take is that you are going to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So God help you. And when you tell a lie, you are committing the offense of perjury, which is a second-degree felony, which means you could be looking to up to 10 years in jail.
Okay.
And if they make that determination, they reserve every right to make the report that is necessary for you to be arrested and processed.
All right.
I am not sure they took up cutlasses or machetes and began to slap them or anything. They are going through the due process.
All right.
I've heard people question that their work will also end up on the desk of the Attorney General. So why don't they wait when it gets to the Attorney General And I said, no, you are wrong. Because even the Auditor General, in the course of the work of the Auditor General, if you have been invited by the Auditor General, you are seen to be suppressing facts, or you are not cooperating in the processes, all of that constitutes offenses that the Auditor General can cause a criminal process against you. But this Public Accounts Committee, why do some Ghanaians want them to finish their work before Attorney General for action? When we wait for that, what results do we get?
All right. Thank you very much, Samson Ladi Ayeni, legal practitioner. You're watching Joy News Prime. Now, still to come, the police have killed 2 suspected armed robbers said to have been involved in the jailbreak at Kwabenya, and also the Royal Motors daylight robbery at the industrial area. And then also in the bulletin, we're going to bring you that interview with the Inspector General of Police, where they're saying that the police is saying that they're going to introduce checkpoints at accident-prone spots to check highway fatalities. So that interview was truncated. We're going to bring it back to you. Stay tuned. Right, it's time for business, and Sandra Afeno has joined me in the studio. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Israel. Good to see you back.
Yeah.
And
good to see you
too. The issue at hand is really hot. We've been having
it's quite a controversy, actually.
Yes, but we'll try to get some clarity on this whole FX Development Committee and their role.
All
so
right.
That's what I'll be doing
you take it
in
away.
business. I am Sandra Esenam Apen. I'm here for business. Now, the formation of an FX Development Committee by the Ministry of Finance last Friday has generated public debate, with many describing it as unnecessary and waste of time. Others have also blamed the media for misinforming the public as to the core mandate of the committee. The committee was, among other things, reported to investigate and also advise governments on managing the CD's performance. So where is the confusion? We'll hear from the Deputy Minister of Finance, Charles Edu Boahen, on what exactly the role of this FX Development Committee is. But first, could this be the same committee promised last year? Here's Finance Minister Kendo Ferrata addressing Parliament when Ghana exited the IMF program.
Currently, the city has witnessed substantial gains with the measures we have put in place. Based on the existing sound macroeconomic fundamentals, we anticipate the stability of the city going forward. Indeed, the city has appreciated by 5.12% in March 2019 alone, as against a depreciation of 2.7% in the same period last year. It is this success, Mr. Speaker, that we need to build on and put in place the structures to strengthen the resilience of the city against its major trading currencies. Mr. Speaker, we recognize the need to take the following steps. A, enhance the transparency of our foreign exchange market to minimize information asymmetry and panic buying of currency by businesses and the public when there are seasonal blips in the currency. Develop our capital market, insurance, and pension industries to ensure that government domestic borrowing relies less on foreign portfolio investors. Mr. Speaker, the President has directed that I investigate the structural causes for the depreciation of the city and to propose measures to address the situation. The Governor and I will put a bipartisan committee together to proceed immediately.
Well, so we are told this is supposed to be a bipartisan committee. Members are made up of representatives from the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, the Agric Ministry, the Association of Ghana Industries, among others. So what are they supposed to do exactly? Here's Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Edu Boahen speaking to the media last Friday when the committee met for the first time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, foreign exchange volatility remains a major concern for government as it impacts real output growth and also increases price inflation. As has empirically been established, the seasonal fall in the value of the cedi can be explained by external headwinds and cyclical domestic demand for forex by corporates and individuals for trade settlements in recent times. Increased demand by the energy sector actors as well. The other factor exacerbating the situation relates to currency market speculation. Given the debilitating impact of the cedi depreciation on the Ghanaian economy, the government has established a Foreign Exchange Developments Committee to offer policy alternatives to address this challenge. The formation of this committee comes on the heels of a directive by Cabinet which was endorsed by Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate that the work of the committee is not to infringe on the independence of the central bank in the operation of its foreign exchange operations, but rather to complement it. This is a very important point that we should take heed of. Ever since the redenomination of the Ghanaian cedi under the J.A. Kufuor-led administration, where the cedi was almost at par with the US dollar, the value of the currency has seen swings mostly in one direction against major trading currencies. For instance, by September 2019, the currency cumulatively had depreciated by 9.33% against the US dollar compared to 7.81% during the same period in 2018. Compared against other major trading currencies, the Ghana cedi depreciated by 4.87% against the euro and 5.66% against the pound sterling in 2019, relative to 4.38% and 7.57% during the same period in 2018, respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, the rather unexpected swings occasioned the Bank of Ghana to introduce swift and timely interventions to address the situation. Among the measures initiated included the introduction of FX forward contracts. This laudable measure remains an effective mechanism for addressing excess liquidity, managing risk and expectations, as well as aiding in price discovery. This is also a sure way to handle both demand and supply of foreign currency in our markets. Again, ladies and gentlemen, increases in foreign flows, including the Eurobond issuance, helped dampen pressures on the currency.
We have been trying to speak to at least one member of this committee, but no luck so far. But this is what economist Professor John Gachi has been saying.
Almost all the things that have been captured as the term of reference for the committee were the things that they were announcing that they were doing as part of their mandate as enshrined in Article 183 of the 1992 Constitution, in which they are the sole institution that will ensure the promotion and management of currency in Ghana, and that is what they have been doing all this while. What we have sought to do by establishing this committee, especially chaired by the finance minister, and if you also look at it, majority of the people are coming outside the Bank of Ghana, clearly indicates to people who want to be critical that you are indicating to the public that the central bank has failed, when in reality the central bank has not failed. What we have not been able to do in the past is that we've not been able to coordinate our sectoral activities very well to align with the policy direction of the Bank of Ghana. I'm saying this because when you listen to the Agri Minister, he was talking about importation of rice to the tune of about 1 billion Ghana cedis, importation of sugar, importation of poultry products into the country. These are issues that policy implementation should have addressed if we are mindful of the policy implementation guidelines and the directives that the Bank of Ghana has been giving in almost all the reports that it issued, its participation in cabinet in providing guidelines about currency management and revealing things that they have found out from their research to economic management team, etc. So for you to come all of a sudden to form a committee, that is not supposed to be your committee. I believe people will read meaning to it in the market, and that is not the best. The only thing that one is questioning.
Lots of public debates currently going on this current development and story. I'm sure we'll be revisiting it for more updates, but that's how we end the first part of business. I am Sandra Esinamap, and I'm back after 8 p.m. with more business news.
Right, so you were going back to our top story that got truncated, the interview with the IGP, who said some practical measures introduced by the service to curb accidents on the country's roads include checkpoints at accident-prone spots to compel drivers to reduce their speed. James Oponbuenu says that Dompoase Junction, where 34 lives were lost recently, is the first to have such a stop. The IGP believes commuters and road users also have a responsibility in efforts to reduce the carnage. In an interview with Joy News, he also added the suspect driver has been provisionally charged with careless and inconsiderate driving, with the Attorney General having the ultimate say.
What our investigations have shown is that the suspect driver was trying to overtake a long stretch of vehicles, and it was close to a bend or a curve. And when another vehicle emerged, he couldn't avoid, so they had to go into a collision. So far, 34 people died, 63 injured, and 47 out of them have been treated and discharged. 2 of the male passengers who died have not been identified so far. So we're appealing to the public to help us identify them. The suspect driver has been charged provisionally with careless and inconsiderate driving. When we finish with the investigations, the docket will be submitted, as usual, to the Attorney General Department. Then they will look at it and see whether they want to go by the Road Traffic Act or they will go by criminal action. For instance, you could be charged with manslaughter if his actions are considered to be a reckless disregard for human life.
Been making reference to education that has been happening all this while, but if the education has been happening all these years and we are not minimizing these accidents, we should be doing something differently. What differently are we doing?
Apart from education, it is not as if we are not doing anything to enforce the laws. We have traffic prevention squads or traffic prevention, accident prevention squads, on the roads. And these are gentlemen and ladies with radars or speed cameras, which they can use to check overspeeding. And you agree with me that there are so many roads on in the country, and we cannot be everywhere at the same time. And that is why I'm appealing to the public that we should try and talk to drivers when we are in the vehicles. If they are speeding, we should tell them to slow down. And we should also report dangerous or reckless driving to our emergency numbers 191 or 18555, 191 or 18555, so that we can take action against drivers who are flouting road traffic regulations. The pedestrians crossing the road, in other places they call it jaywalking. If you are crossing the road, look for a zebra crossing and ensure that you have a clear view of the road from both left, right, and left again before you cross, and ensure that you are safe before you step onto the road. So I believe some of these things will help.
How about enforcement of the many laws we have on the roads?
Enforcement takes several forms. You educate people, or you arrest them and you prosecute them. This we are doing.
Can we do a bit more or a lot more?
Well, like I said, you cannot be on the road 24 hours a day for all the roads. And in addition to this, we have police posts in certain portions of some of the roads. And talking about the Dompoase accident area, our research has shown that accidents have been occurring there. So what we are doing differently now is that the Central Regional Commander, Police Commander, is going to put a roadblock there so that whenever drivers get there, they will be compelled to stop so that it will eliminate the possibility of accidents happening there.
When should we expect that rolled out?
Well, that should be immediate, maybe in the next 72 hours.
Does that mean that will be replicated in other accident-prone spots on the highways?
Yes, in other accident-prone areas, commanders have been tasked to steady the road in all their jurisdictions, wherever they think that the speeding can be kept by an enforcement medium, either by a roadblock or by a temporary police check, they will do that.
The police have killed 2 persons they say have been on the police wanted list for a while. The 2 are said to have been killed in a gunfight during an attempt to arrest them at separate locations. At a news conference here in Accra Monday, the Accra Region Police Command said the 2 had been involved in the Kwabenya jailbreak and the daylight robbery at Royal Motors some years ago. Maxwell Ogbagba has more in this report.
So the 2 who were sitting at the back, they look, the 2 sitting at the back, I didn't see their face. They turned before they rolled the glass and they started shooting. But the guy sitting...
An eyewitness narrating the robbery at the Royal Motors Limited at the North Industrial Area sometime in February 2018. Amid gunshots, the robbers bolted with an undisclosed amount of money. More than a year after that robbery, Accra Region Police has announced 2 of the suspects involved have been killed during a gun battle with the police on Monday dawn. Yes, Accra Region Police Commander DCOP Frederick Edu.
Notorious armed robbery syndicates operating within Tema and Accra Metropolis. They are all on police wanted list. Ali Hero was declared wanted by the command in the last press briefing for being part of a gang who robbed and raped a resident at a location near Trasacco last year. The 2 were again involved in a quarry robbery at Kasua in June 2019. They were also involved in the Royal Motor robbery, Ashaiman Filling Station robbery, and Kwabenya jailbreak. About 1:15 a.m., a team of policemen acting upon this information proceeded to Oyibi on surveillance. Close to Oyibi checkpoint, the team intercepted a green hard-body Nissan pickup driven by deceased Charles Donko. When the suspect driver was signaled to stop, he refused and sped off. The suspect started firing at the police, leading to a shootout. Deceased Charles Donko sustained gunshot wounds in the course at the knee, but was pronounced dead on arrival at the police hospital.
The regional commander says the suspect's accomplice, Ali Abbas, was also killed in a gunfight with police at another location.
On seeing the police, they engaged them in another exchange of gunfire, where deceased Ali also fell, whilst the others managed to escape. A search in the suspect's vehicle revealed 5 weapons, namely 1 SMG Mark IV rifle, 2 Mark II rifles, 1 G3 with 319mm ammunition, 1 Mark IV rifle, 2 Mal Hammers, 47 rounds of AK-47 ammunition, 6 G3 ammunition, a pair of handcuffs, 2 axes, and a face mask.
In a separate incident, 3 Tanzanians are in the custody of the police for using the technology that blocks vehicle owners from locking their vehicles. Accra Region Commander has been providing details of their operations.
Modus operandi that they use as the method of their operation is that they go to the malls, parking lots, recreational centers, and places of interest. They loiter at the car parking lots and intercept their victim's car lock remote with their vehicle jammers. They get access into the victim's vehicle and steal any valuable items found in them.
Coming up next, we bring you our Hotline documentary.